Joining me today is Britta from JusTea. Britta, can you explain first what JusTea is?
Sure. We are trying to do a setup tea processing in Kenya. So at the moment, they're the biggest exporter of black tea in the world, but it's basically all cut and tear. And it's this huge industry, but it's actually set up around small farmers. So there's about 550,000 small 1 acre family farms in Kenya.
Right.
And the farmers grow the tea, they pick the tea, and that's it. They don't know how to process the tea, so they bring it all to central processing. And because of the way the system's set up, they don't make any money, and all we get is really bad tea. So most of your tea that you get is about 30% of most tea bags that are black tea actually come from Kenya. So what we're trying to do is get a tea processor and start a co-op in Kenya and have them learn how to process their own tea, so they will be making more money. And also, once they have the knowledge to process tea, they then have the power and the ability to sell their tea and decide what they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really great concept, and it's definitely something that's really important and being talked about a lot in the tea industry right now. I know Oxfam just released a report where basically they found that even with fair trade, that the farmers really aren't making any more than if they weren't certified in the first place, on bigger plantations. And so I guess what you're doing kind of plays into that.
Yeah, yeah, it really does. So, I mean, not only do we want to get more money for the farmers, but we also want to get more power, and hopefully get a really, really nice tea in the process.
Definitely. I've had some really good teas from Kenya. I've had an amazing white tea that was produced in Kenya, but a lot of it,
Yeah.
like you said, is, your lower quality tea that's going to go in a tea bag.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, I recently took tea into a place where I used to work, and they're all like, "This is Pico tea, like this is just so good." And I was like, "Well, yeah, if you drink good tea, it can be really amazing. But if you're comparing it to the orange Pico you buy from the grocery store, of course, there's a huge difference."
Definitely. You're doing fundraising right now through Indiegogo?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great.
So at the moment, we have some tea. We got it not from the farmers because we haven't got a processor there yet, but we have it sort of just as a teaser to get people going. So we are trying to raise money so that we can have a tea processor, fly to Kenya, and we can get some of the simple machinery. We're trying to establish a tea studio where they process the tea, but really we're trying to make it very low-key. We want to do as much hand processing as we can. Of course, it's difficult to even find someone to help us with that because almost all tea is produced with machines.
Definitely. And
So we're excited to try and get more people involved in our project. So obviously we're trying to raise money, but we're also just trying to get more people involved. We would really like to have this to be a community. We hope eventually to be able to have the farmers actually interact with our customers. That's our ideal hope.
Definitely. And one of the things that really, attracted me to Just Tea when I first heard about you, was the story that you had told about Grayson meeting one of the tea farmers. Um,
Yeah.
how, he was really welcomed into their home and really got to know the farmer, and his story.
Yeah, that's very much, I think the whole process of the way Just Tea started really was personal connections, and we've sort of just taken off from there. So we hope to not only have the personal connections to be with our staff, but also to be with our buyers, and with our community. We hope to have sort of a whole tea community and not just have it one-sided. So we hope to have the African side more involved in the process here. We even managed to have a pastor who used to live in Nairobi, so he has some people from where he used to go to church that we're in contact with to sort of help us with the business side in Kenya. And it's really nice because it's all this people you know scenario. It's like they're a real person. They're not just a contact, and it really makes a big difference.
Yeah, no, that it really does. A few months ago, I had done a Kiva team through my blog where, we donated money to Kenyan tea farmers. But, or actually, it was so that they could buy tea leaves to turn into tea.
Yeah.
But, it was almost, they told you a tiny bit about the farmer and what they would be using the money for, but you really didn't get the personal story behind the farmer and their lives like that.
Yeah, yeah. So we do want to change that because it's like, well, we have all this technology and it's really possible to do stuff like that. And I think it really makes a big difference to know that, like, not only is the tea you drinking helping the lives of someone, but it's like helping the lives of someone like our farmer Davison. It's like, you know him and you know that by drinking this tea, his children have been able to go to school, and there's just a real big difference if you're connected to your products. And obviously, tea isn't something that really grows in most of North America. We don't have the right climate for that, but that doesn't mean that we still can't have these connections and this sort of personal ownership and relationship with the tea we drink.
Definitely. And so I know I saw on your Indiegogo that you have a couple of different packages. Where starting from as little as $2. But I saw one of them actually included teacups made by you. Can you tell me more
Yes,
about
they
that?
did. Sure. In fact, I could probably go grab one.
Do you mind?
I am a potter and I'm a weaver. And obviously, this is a project I'm involved in. In fact, almost all our staff are volunteers. So we have a large collection of us, and we're all just helping. And we're doing that because it's a project that we all sort of feel connected to. Oh, look, a teacup came towards me.
Oh wow.
And potting is one thing that I do, so I wanted to do something. And actually, these teacups, which are really quite fun, teacup and plate, I made specifically for the series. I've sort of done stuff with spikes, and it's always fun, and I've always loved teacups. I have a collection. I think I've got it down to 30. I used to have collections on two coats, so I used to have about double that, of mismatched teacups. I guess maybe that's part of the reason I've never made any. So obviously, tea project, I needed to make teacups. So I was like, what do I do that's fun that would really make a difference and you'd really feel special drinking your tea out of? So I thought I'd make some crazy ones. I have no idea if you can read that. It even says JusTea on it.
Oh wow.
Nope.
Yeah.
And I also did some smaller teacups, and actually I recently got married, and I made all my wedding guests hike about 4 hours in the snow to get there. And I made these just little tea tumblers that we used both as teacups and for ice wine.
Oh
So I
wow.
didn't want champagne, so I went for ice wine, which is appropriate in snow, of course.
Of course. Yeah. No, that's really
Yeah,
cool. Very
yeah,
different. Um,
yeah.
very cool. Um, and so, how did you become involved in the project?
Well, that's an interesting story. I actually heard about the project while I was on a bicycle. Last year, I decided to cycle from Vancouver to Columbia because, why not? It's a great idea. And Grayson Dana is a longtime family friend of ours. I actually went to Kenya with him and his family when I was 11. And my dad is friends with Grayson, and he knew that I would be interested, partly because I started a ceramic, studio sort of ceramics in Ghana when I was 24. So I established a little co-op there, and sort of have always been sort of interested in African stuff since then. And obviously, if I'm cycling to Colombia, I have lots of time to spare. So when I came back, I managed to sort of do a few Skype chats while I was gone. And when I came back, I got hooked up with Grayson, and it took about a year for things to really move. But then we sort of had this whole team built up, and yeah, and then three of the team members, so Grayson, actually his son, and one of his nephews, because of course we seem to be surrounded by their family, which is great.
Yeah.
They all went to Kenya again and went and re-met with all the farmers and just sort of re-looked at the project. And ever since then, we've sort of been really moving forward towards getting a tea processor there.
That's great. Um, let's see. And so, I normally when we think of tea from Kenya, we think of black tea. And so, you know, what beyond that, what are your plans as far as the tea goes, for the future of Kenya?
Yeah. I mean, partly we hope that once we have our tea expert there and we're talking with the Kenyans, that they can start making decisions. We definitely want to start with a black tea, a really nice traditional handcrafted black Orthodox tea, but we definitely probably will look to start doing oolongs and green tea, but I think it'll depend on interest from the farmers and the ability to process and just how the project goes, really.
Okay. Let me see. And so I'm gonna put the links to your Indiegogo, and your YouTube video that explains about the project. Once I post this video. And so,
Yeah.
is there anything else that people should know about Just Tea?
Uh, Anything else particularly more? We're trying to get the word out. If you're interested in tea and you'd like to be more involved and just have more of a relationship with your tea, come and chat with us. I mean, not only are we looking for people to help support us and people to sort of help share our message, but we really do want to try and be a company that involves other people. Grayson Bain, who sort of started the whole project out, is really interested in crowdsourcing. So I think he's hoping that some way, and obviously that works way better for just basic internet stuff, but we're hoping to some way have more people involved in our project, so it not just being us putting stuff out, but it's more of a dialogue. So if people are interested in a dialogue with tea and their growers, really, we'd love to hear from you guys. We'd love to get the message out and just have you part of our community and our family.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. And I really hope that sharing your story with my viewers and readers will help you, in your endeavors.
Well, I'm so glad you could host me, and really glad and hope that your tea blogging is going well. And it's summer, but not in Australia. So there's always
That's
tea to be
true.
drunk, and it's the hottest countries that drink the tea. So
Very true. Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for watching my second podcast episode. I hope you're just as excited about Just Tea as I am. I think their passion and their story is really great, and I think it really, has a really promising future for the tea industry. As always, if you ever have any questions about tea or if there's something that you would like to see in a podcast, please don't hesitate to email me at nicole@teaformeplease.com, or to hit me up on Twitter at teaformeplease. And I hope to see you soon. Bye.